All right, let's dive into the hyper-competitive world of cloud computing. You've got these massive players locked in an epic battle for dominance. But what happens when all their weapons, their core technologies, start to look exactly the same? This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's what every major cloud provider is asking themselves right now. If all the features are basically identical, where does the real advantage, the actual winning edge, come from? Well, let's figure that out. So, our journey begins with this idea. It's called the paradox of parity. It sounds a little academic, but it's simple. It's what happens when the very technology that once made these companies unique becomes, well, just a commodity, something anybody can get from anywhere. Here's the thing. The big three, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud, have gotten incredibly good at copying each other's homework. As soon as one of them releases a cool new feature, you can bet the others will have their own version in no time. This means that walking into a meeting and just listing off features, that whole strategy is basically dead on arrival. And if you need proof, just look at this chart. It lays it all out, crystal clear. Pick a category, any category. Compute, containers, AI platforms, it doesn't matter. For every single service AWS offers, there's a nearly identical one from Azure and GCP. The tech race has pretty much hit a stalemate. So if you can't win by having better tech specs, what's left? Well, this is where the real fight is happening now, in their go-to-market strategy. It's no longer about what they sell, but how they sell it. Okay, first up, AWS. Their entire playbook is built around one idea: being customer-obsessed. They don't walk in talking about servers. They walk in talking about solving specific problems for, say, the banking industry or for healthcare providers. They position themselves as true industry experts, and they back it up with a huge army of partners. Now, Microsoft Azure is playing a totally different game. They're leaning into their biggest strength, their absolute dominance in the enterprise world. I mean, something like 85% of the Fortune 500 already runs on Microsoft, so their big bet is on hybrid cloud, making it super easy for those huge companies to connect what they already have with the cloud. That's a massive, massive advantage. And then you've got Google Cloud, or GCP. They've decided to be the innovators, the cool kids on the block, especially when it comes to AI and data. Their whole strategy is to lead with the most cutting-edge tools, like their Vertex AI platform, and really embrace open-source tech. They're trying to attract companies that want to live on that bleeding edge. So let's put it all together. You can see it here, side by side. The underlying tech might be the same, but the stories they tell and who they tell them to are completely different. AWS is all about industry solutions. Azure is the king of enterprise integration, and GCP is the leader in AI innovation. Their real differentiator isn't technical, it's human. And that right there brings us to the core of this whole thing. In a market where all the products look the same, the ultimate competitive advantage isn't the product, it's the people. It's the person sitting across the table from the customer. To really get this, you have to see how much the sales game has changed. The old way was all about the transaction. Get in, close the deal fast, and get out. But that just doesn't fly for these huge, multi-year cloud deals. The new model is all about the relationship. It's about building genuine trust and becoming a long-term business advisor, not just another vendor. The absolute bedrock skill for this new model is emotional intelligence, or EQ. And I want to be really clear about this. This is not some fluffy, soft skill. In today's cloud market, EQ is a hard, strategic capability that has a direct line to winning deals and keeping customers happy for the long haul. So what does EQ actually look like in the wild? Well, you can break it down into these 4 pillars. It's being self-aware enough to know how your own tone is affecting the conversation. It's having this self-regulation to stay calm when a client is pushing back hard. It's that social awareness to read the room and see that a buyer is getting nervous. And finally, it's about managing the relationship to turn what could be a boring sales pitch into a real collaborative conversation. That's what builds trust. Okay, so if people are this secret weapon, how do you actually build a team that can pull this off? Well, you need a totally new playbook, one that's built from the ground up to deliver real value right from that very first handshake. This playbook really has 2 key phases. First up is deep discovery. You don't lead with your product, you lead with questions. You spend your time trying to understand what the client's actual business goals are. Only then do you move to phase 2, co-creation. This is where you actually work with the client, side by side, to design the right solution together. And in that second phase, the solutions architect is the absolute hero of the story. Think about it. This person is basically a free, world-class technical advisor.
Their job is to help design the best possible system for the client, building an incredible amount of trust and credibility before a single dollar has even been spent. It's a game changer.
And this whole process isn't a one-person show. It's a team sport. The modern sales team is like a squad. You've got the account manager handling the business relationship, the solutions architect doing the technical design, and then a technical account manager who sticks around to make sure everything works perfectly long-term. With this team approach, the customer feels totally supported at every single stage of the journey. But here's the catch. To make all of this really work, you can't just change the process. You have to fundamentally change how you measure success, because the old way of doing things just won't cut it anymore. The new North Star, the metric that matters most, is customer lifetime value, or CLV. Instead of just obsessing over the size of one deal, CLV forces you to look at the big picture, the total value you can expect from a customer over the entire lifetime of your relationship. It's a profound shift in thinking. At the end of the day, you get the behavior you reward. It's that simple. If you want your team to build deep, trust-based relationships, you have to pay them for it. By making CLV the top priority, you align the entire company around creating long-term value, not just chasing quick transactional wins. So this leaves us with one last big question to chew on. In this new era where technology is becoming a commodity, the future doesn't belong to the company with the fanciest code. It belongs to the one with the strongest connections, the one that has earned the most trust. So you have to ask yourself, what's your company's true differentiator?